Everyone and welcome back. If you are new here, then hello, my name is Zoe and this is my YouTube channel. Today we are tackling all things under eyes. I'm going to share how you get the most flawless under eye concealer that doesn't crease and lasts all day. This is the one question that I do get asked quite a lot, and it's how to keep my under eyes from moving throughout the day and how to stop them creasing it throughout the day. So today I'm going to go through step by step on what you need to do to stop any movement and to stop them creasing throughout the day. Also want to say that under eye lines are absolutely normal. We all have them. I have plenty, and the main focus of this video is just to help stop exaggerating them and just to help our makeup stay put throughout the day. So our first step is very important, and that is skin prep. So just like we apply our skin moisturiser, we also need to be not forgetting our eye cream as well. But it is going to hydrate the skin, which will make it a little bit more plumper, more hydrated. It's also going to help stop your skin drying out throughout the day, and that's when sometimes your makeup can start settling in those lines. So we want to keep the skin nice and plump and hydrated throughout the day while we're wearing makeup. So I'm going to be using the Ole Henriksen Banana Bright eye cream. So just tap in that eye cream all underneath the eye area. This is going to prep our skin next for makeup. So my next step in my routine would be my foundation now. So I'm going to do my foundation off camera, and then I will be back and then we'll be ready for concealer. So you can see that I've left my under eyes completely bare and I haven't brought my foundation up underneath my eyes. You want to avoid bringing your foundation up too far because we don't want to add an unnecessary layer to our under eye area. The skin in this area is so thin. The more layers that we apply there of like foundation or concealer, the more chance it's got that it's going to move around throughout the day. So the least amount of product we can put there is best, but we still want to achieve that nice flawless full coverage as well. So try not to bring your foundation up too far because we're going to be applying concealer under that anyway. It's just an unnecessary layer of product we don't need to be applying. I will also say as well that if you do suffer with like dark circles and discoloration underneath your eyes, try to use a colour corrector first before building up your concealer, because you might find that you'll end up using less product if you use a colour corrector first to counteract any discoloration, and then your concealer on the top. You might find that you use less product and then you'll get less movement of product underneath the eyes as well, if that makes any sense at all. So now I'm going to go straight in with my concealer. This is the Tarte Shape Tape. It's in the shade Fairlight Neutral. This is one of my absolute favourites, and I just apply my concealer just like everybody else, mainly into this corner, and then I always do a little bit just to sharpen up my eyeshadow. Just like my foundation, I like to apply all my cream products in layers because it's easier to build up than take away. So it's easier to add more coverage than applying too much and then struggling to take it off. So I'm using a damp sponge to blend mine in. You can use a brush or your fingers, whatever is your personal preference, but I've always found because I've got a bit more dry skin that a beauty blender works best for me. I feel like I can really press the product into my skin, and the more that you press and blend in, the less that it's going to settle in any lines and the less that it's going to move around throughout the day. So really work in any of your base products, especially your under eye, because the more that you're pressing it in, the more that you're pushing it in place and it's not going to move throughout the day. So that's one layer. I've really pushed it into the skin, but I do like more of like a full coverage under my eye. So I'm going to apply just a tiny bit more, mainly just to this area. I find with the beauty blender as well, it's hard to apply too much because it will take off any excess product which you don't need sort of by itself. So just keep on pressing and any sort of extra product will absorb into your sponge. Okay, so now you can see it's really full coverage and really flawless under our eyes now. But before I go in to set anything, I like to use all my other cream products first before I set them. So that will be my cream contour slash bronzer and my cream blush as well. If I went straight in and set this area with powder here, and then I tried to blend in like my cream bronzers and things, it's going to catch on the setting powder just in this area. You're not going to get a very good blend. So just leave your under eye there for now, it'll be fine, and do all your cream products next before you go in with any setting powder. I'm going to do mine off camera, so I will be back in a second. So I've finished off the rest of my cream and liquid products. You can see everywhere is nice and blended and seamless, which is exactly what we want. And now it's time to set everything in place. So it's time to pick a powder. So if you want to set everywhere really flawlessly, I would personally recommend a loose powder. I feel like a loose powder does set a lot more stronger than just a pressed powder on the top. So I've chosen the Laura Mercier translucent powder because I find this works for everybody, and even if you've got more oily or more dry skin, it looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. So this is the powder I'm going to set with today. So before we go in with any setting powder, this next step is so important, and if you only do one step from this tutorial today, this is the one that you want to be doing, and I promise you this will make the biggest difference ever. So because I've sat and I've done my cream bronzer and my cream blush, you can see that the concealer has already started to settle in some of my lines, which is what I don't want. So if I went straight in with my powder now, I'm basically just setting those lines in place, and then they're just going to stay there all day. They're going to become really obvious throughout the day as well, which we do not want that at all. So I'm going to take my damp beauty blender. I've got no extra concealer or product on here at all. I'm just going to go in and blend out those creases and blend the product out of those lines before I go in with any setting powder. Okay, so now we are ready to set with our powder. I go in with the same damp beauty sponge. I just find this works best for me. I love how, because it's a little bit more damp, it like melts the powder into the base products and it just sets everything absolutely beautifully. What I do like to do is layer my powders as well, especially under the eyes. So I'm going to go in with the tiniest amount first, just to take the tackiness away from my concealer and just to lightly set. So I'm going to take a little bit of the powder, press it into my hand just to take off any excess, and then I'm going straight in to my under eyes just to set them in place, and just to make sure that our concealer isn't going to go straight into those lines again. This is going to set really smoothly and it looks absolutely beautiful on the skin. And then just while I've got my powder, I'll press a little bit again just into my T-zone. Okay, so that already looks really nice and flawless, but if I'm wearing this for the whole day or the whole night, I want to set it a little bit more strongly, so that's when I'll layer my powders up a little bit. So just in this area here, it's going to brighten and like help control the product throughout the day. I'm going to take a little bit more powder, a little bit of extra product just in this area. This is going to make your under eyes look so flawless. I'm not taking it up right to the lash line because I am a little bit more dry, and sometimes if I take it too high up, it has like the opposite effect and dries it out a little bit. So just as that sits there, I'm just going to quickly apply a tiny bit of bronzer. This would be like my last stages of my makeup routine, so just going to press a little bit just onto my cheeks. This is also going to set the outer perimeter of my face as well, because I am a little bit more dry. I don't need a loose powder to set the rest of my face, so I tend to just keep that like to the centre. Tiny bit of blush. Okay, so finished the rest of my makeup, and now we're ready to buff the excess powder off. It's had a chance to really soak in and get everything settled and set everything nice and strongly in place. I'm taking just a clean brush. It is clean, it's got no extra product on, it's just a bit stained from my blushes, so it's got no product on. I'm just going to go straight in with this and just really lightly dust off any of the excess powder. And you can see how nice and bright my under eye looks as well. And when you look up close, it looks so flawless, it's so nice. Okay, now my very last step is a setting spray little trick, which I always do, and I find this works amazing as well. So we've applied quite a lot of powder, especially on the under eyes. We don't want it drying out throughout the day. We want it to stay really nice and flawless and set. So I'm going to first go in with my setting spray. I'm using the Too Faced Hangover 3-in-1 Replenishing Primer and Setting Spray. So I'm just going to give a spray of this. Okay, then straight after, I'm going straight in with the damp beauty blender. Just going to press over everywhere. This is going to take away the look of any powderiness, but it's not going to disturb our makeup at all. It's going to set it really nice in place. Okay, so you can see how nice and flawless my under eye is, and that will stay like that all day now. It's perfectly set in place. It's going to stay looking flawless. And it's not going to start settling into any of those under eye lines or anything like that. That is my tips slash tutorial on how I stop my under eyes creasing, any makeup settling in any lines, and keeping my under eyes looking flawless all day. I really hope you did enjoy today's video, and I really hope these tips help you out as well. Let me know if they did down in the comments. Please give it a big thumbs up as well. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next week in my next one. Bye!